Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing a new single from Lana Del Rey that is predicted to be off of her sixth studio album, which is rumored to be coming out in early 2019. This track is called Mariner's Apartment Complex, and it was produced by Jack Antonoff. It's one of two songs that she'll be releasing in this coming week where she will tease the album. So I decided I was going to review each song separately. I was originally going to, when I heard there were two songs coming, one just dropped today, the other is coming next Tuesday. Thought I was going to wait and review the two together, but then I thought, well, I haven't done a track review in a while, and I felt so moved by this track that I felt like I just had to sit down and film this individual track review. So I'll probably film one next week for the other track. So Mariner's Apartment Complex. It's been a year and a half since Lana released Lust for Life, and I'm so glad that she at least gave us a year between albums because, she's one to kind of quickly jump into a next era, and even though I feel as though she never rushes out of any era to get into the next one, she definitely could take her time just a little bit more. However, her music doesn't suffer necessarily from feeling rushed or feeling like there's too much coming at too short a time span. I feel like, especially if the album really isn't coming until early next year, which is what I predict and is what most are predicting, and I think she's actually kind of confirmed, then that's a good gap of time between Lust for Life and this upcoming project. Now, she's released so much music in the last 5 or 6 years, it gets to the point where you think when Lana's releasing new music, is she going to change completely? Is she going to really change things up? Or is she going to kind of continue and do things very similar to how she's done in the past? And I was very curious with a title like Mariner's Apartment Complex. I kind of brought a smile to my face. She has a good knack for something that's more done in country and folk music, of naming songs after seemingly mundane, buildings or roads or just things that you wouldn't normally think are that romantic to name a title. I joked and I think I tweeted that, Lana could name a track, Truck Stop on the NJ Turnpike, and it would probably be still a really gorgeous track. I mean, let's be real. She could easily name a song that. And so the title I don't find cumbersome whatsoever. Some people are like, that's just a weird title. It fits her aesthetic. And the title is actually more significant than you think. You may think, oh, this song was written inspired by like a lot of time spent in this apartment complex that happened to be called the Mariners. Well, actually, the name Mariners has a lot more significance than you would think originally when you listen to the lyrics and also hear what she had to say about this track. The idea of being a wayfarer or a mariner, being someone who guides ships in the sea, is actually very integral to the message she was trying to get across with this song. The lyrics very autobiographically start out in telling this story. You took my sadness out of context at the Mariner's Apartment Complex. I ain't no candle in the wind. I'm the bolt, the lightning, the thunder, kind of girl who's gonna make you wonder who you are and who you've been. So Lana explained that she was with this guy that she was madly in love with, and she could tell that he was reciprocating that love. And they were in this amazing moment together at the foot of this apartment. And he said, I'm so glad that, you really get what I'm going through because you're in a dark place too. And Lana was taken aback and said, I'm flattered that you think that we have this in common. And I have been in dark places, but currently I'm actually in a much lighter place. And this sort of realization that she had of coming across as almost like a way shower or a wayfarer for people who are very troubled. Lana talks about always trying to cure troubled boyfriends. And I can understand how, Lana could somewhat view that as like this sort of strange relationship dynamic where she is realizing that I'm here to bring light into your life. And I'm glad that you're opening up to me and letting me know how vulnerable you are because I had no idea. I had no idea that you were this dark and sad. And you thought that I was too, but actually I've been through that, and of course I'm still struggling with things and we can struggle together, but I feel as though I might be this sort of lighthouse for you and not in like an ego or like I'm better than you kind of way. It's just in relationships, there's often one partner who sometimes has to do a little bit more of the emotional outreach As long as it's not one-sided, as long as both are, getting what they need and their communication is there. Because remember, we don't want women doing all the emotional labor. That is a misogynist thing that's been perpetrated in relationships for eons. But if you talk it through, a couple can understand, or a friendship, it doesn't have to be a relationship, where each person is in terms of, how they're viewing and how they're doing in life, and how the other could help them. Because some people will be on different levels. I'm the kind of girl who makes you wonder who you are and who you've been. So she's reflecting on the fact that she's probably, and not in a conceited way, kind of alluding to the fact that she's mysterious herself and she comes across as very mysterious, but there's maybe something about the people she chooses that tends to be dark and troubled souls who, in meeting her, have had their lives changed inadvertently without her even really knowing or trying that hard. It makes them reflect on their own life, being with her or being with people like her. And I think that's just a really interesting sentiment to open up this track. Now, sonically, we're in territory that is very comfortable for Lana. I read a review that said Lana is in peak California sonics here, and that's very true. It reminds me of her album Ultraviolence, which, by the way, I have reviewed all of her albums on this channel, which I will link in the description if anyone's new to this channel and checking out this review. I'm a huge Lana Del Rey fan. However, Ultraviolence is my least favorite record of hers. Just because the rock influences are not so stirring for me, and I find the album a little too dark and plotting in parts. Mariners teeters on going in that territory. There are similarities in the neo-noir. I mean, the music video is like this, vintage, Nokia flip phone kind of video footage, very Polaroid, similar to what she's done in the past, black and white. And it's a downing kind of song. I mean, that's not to say that there isn't hope in the lyrics and in the melody line. It does disintegrate into much more psychedelic rock and roll guitar towards the end, and it also then kind of reminds me of Honeymoon because of that psychedelic kind of fade out. Honeymoon was a very psychedelic album in some ways, and it was also a very sleepy album, but I actually loved it. And honestly, I can hear bits and pieces of all of her recent works. I can also hear Lust for Life in this single in the way her voice is pitched and the recording style. It's very vintage sounding. And ultimately, I think it's a song that is very memorable, even upon first listen, but definitely growing over time to be a very kind of mellow anthem, something that is really easy to sink your teeth into emotionally. This begs the question of, if an artist is going to release so much music in such short spans of time, do we get tired of the same exact sound? Does it feel like Lana's retreading territory she's already tread? Does it almost feel like we're not that excited anymore for a new Lana project because it's like, is it just going to be rehashed stuff she's already done? And, she has a formula and it does work. And I know several artists who kind of decide to kind of stay in their lane. And I don't have a problem with that. There's something that works, you stick with it. But there needs to be growth there. And I think there will be growth. I think this is a very self aware track. And I think it does pique my interest. And I think that it was really hard to gauge where the album is going to go from a song like this because it's just one song. And like I said, it's pulling in elements from all of her most recent records. But one thing I think can be safe to say is that she is still going for that very melancholic alternative pop sound, which was utilized a lot on her recent records. Very unlike Born to Die. But I kind of viewed Born to Die as something she was never going to really go back to in terms of style anyway. So I'm not that surprised. Ultimately, this song, I think, is very pleasant, very calming. It has that soothing effect on you. And it definitely fits in her catalog, whether that's a really good thing or maybe a bad thing because it's, a bit too derivative of stuff she's done before. Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this review and stay tuned for a review of the next Lana single that she'll be releasing next week. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, and light. Bye.